It's just over. Yeah. You know, I gotta get it at that right level. Brother, you can commence. We can go ahead with it.
Eating children was helpful. It's not. It's phenomenally harmful. It's bad. It's stupid. Don't do it.
Right.
Now, there is plenty of wisdom to be found in the Bible. Trust me, I grew up learning all the Bible stories, and some of them had great lessons. But you don't have to look very hard to find some outlandish and even offensive content. Meaning, in practice, almost everyone who claims the Bible as the ultimate authority on doing everything is definitely doing a lot of cherry picking.
We've totally rejected slavery. Like, that's unilaterally condoned throughout the Bible, but we've decided...
Are you trying to tell me that the Bible is actually kind of just like contradicts itself? Well, as far as you know, the Old Testament versus the New Testament goes and stuff like that, right? Because I'm not gonna lie, these are the kind of questions that a lot of people have been asking. You know what I'm saying? Like, asking in terms of being confused by the principles that go against you know, principles of Old Testament that go against the ideas of what the New Testament stands for. If any of that kind of makes sense, right? Yo, I'm actually trying to check if my sound is all right, bro. Alright, hopefully, you know, hopefully the mic has been on the whole time.
We know better,
right?
And I think we're right. We've entirely rejected the prohibition on charging interest on usury. That was something that lasted for a long time within early Christianity. That was considered robbery, to charge interest on loans and things like that. And we decided, you know what? We're done with this. We're just going to overrule the Bible on this one. So every part of the Bible is negotiable. We've already negotiated a lot of it away.
And yet, many people in prominent positions of power, both inside and outside of the church, still claim the Bible as life's one and only instruction manual. Why?
Now, a lot of people talk as if their worldview comes downstream from the Bible, and that's precisely what Speaker Johnson said when he first got the position. Said, you know, some people in the media asked me, what's my worldview, what's my stance on this, that, and the other, and I told them, read your Bible, that's my worldview. And that's laughably stupid, because it's obviously not true. That's an attempt to try to say the worldview I have comes from the Bible, and the reality is the worldview you have comes from your intuitions, and then you go out and look for a way to rationalize it and make it sound rational or inviolable or something like that. And so you go to the Bible and you find what you want in the Bible to make your intuitive positions.
Okay, quick sound check, mic check 1 2, mic check 1 2. I just want to check this right quick. Don't be distracted by the little, you know what I'm saying, my little vocal coming through. Just yapping, just to check my sound right quick. Yeah, I guess it's gonna take a while. Let's go.
Feel biblical. It's the same reason that people will give arguments for why, you know, they would vote for a laughably stupid rapist who lies about everything and can barely read. It's because the data are not what result in their position. Their position is more intuitive and overwhelmingly is going to be based on identity politics. Whatever social identities are important to them,
people will give
their needs, their interests are going to take priority. And then the argument, the rational...
My bad, mic check 1 2.
Because they are not result in... Their position is more intuitive. Overwhelmingly based on it. Whatever identities are...
Rationalization is secondary.
The reality is this: it's far less about what the Bible actually says and far more about the almost mystical power that it and other religious texts play in our society.
I think the Bible is a way to gin up an authority that is above reproach and that is beyond question. Because if it is inspired, if it is univocal, if it is inerrant, all those things, then there can be no higher authority. And so the one who wields the Bible wields the ultimate authority. It is the grand trump card.
Grand trump card. The absolute authority. Well, because people treat it that way as they implement it on their lives, right? On their lifestyles. No?
And so I think because of that, it becomes a phenomenally attractive backup. It becomes the thing you want to have in your back pocket, and particularly for folks who see the evangelical Christian nationalist identity as an attractive one, as the one that's going to get me the access to power and resources that I want. The Bible is then your main weapon. That's what you want to have with you at all times. And it happens to be interpretively malleable and flexible. And because it can be interpreted in a variety of different ways, it can be leveraged in the service of all kinds of different circumstances.
Yeah.
The only reason why certain things in the Bible or claim to be in the Bible hold so much power is because belief in a higher power has such a grip on our society. Realizing that led us to our next question.
Bro, and that was like the whole dependence on, you know, like not having I might have just like used that example out of pocket, because I was pointing out the fact that you know, country, oh yeah, it was about countries that actually you know, countries with richer people not tapping into religion or not finding the need to tap into religion. You know what I'm saying? I attributed that to the fact that, you know, it might be because, you know, those people got like much more of a backbone. Like, I know that's ignorant. They got much more of a backbone, but obviously that's the POV that they give, because they're these important people, busy people, wealthy people. They're the elite. You know what I'm saying? They to them, they're the center of their lives, their life, like everything that evolves around them, they're the center of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure that's the kind of POV you might have on yourself, like being the wealthiest person in your lineage, in your community, in your country, whatever the case, right? And so therefore, people from countries you know, where they got less, or where it's like mostly, for the most part, poverty stricken, you know what I'm saying? They depend more on religion because, you know, they ain't shit. Let's be clear. Like, not, oh my god, wait, not they ain't shit. Shit. No, not that. It's like their sense of, how can I say this, man? Confidence, right? Their sense of the space that they take in the world. They're very insecure people. For one, right? You get a whole lot of insecure people there because they have nothing, right? So they got nothing to show for what they might think, who they may think they are. You know what I'm saying? You got nothing to show for it. You work, toil with little to nothing. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like we're all in the same boat of like, we all need each other. We all depend on each other. And the only way we can like keep each other, like, shit, like, you know, keep each other accountable, keep each other in check, keep each other in the right direction is if we have a higher moral compass to look to, right? The highest moral trump card according to this video, right? The highest law. You know what I mean? We look to that because we got each other, but then again, we know that all of us ain't shit. Like we all ain't. I'm not even shitting on people because I am them. I am them. I'm part of that kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? But then again, that's what I see. Here's why I'm trying to correct myself from the whole point of like making it about that, because it's actually more about like your did I say awareness? Or like you're being tapped into yourself, like the awareness of, you know, yourself, the backbone of trusting in your own energy, trusting in like your own inner inner perception, right? Yeah, like your innate. No, that's not the word I'm looking for, man. Your intrinsic and internal POVs and energies in relation to the external. You know what I'm saying? It's like trusting in that, knowing thyself, knowing yourself deep enough to trust in your own self. And it has nothing to do with narcissism, because now we're using those buzzwords, right? Those therapy speak buzzwords. We're therapy speak maxing at that point, where it's like, yo, nah, but you're being narcissistic. When no, it has nothing to do with narcissism, but it has everything to do with understanding yourself at a deeper level, to a point where you like, only you can be your highest authority at the end of the day, and only you can get to the point where you understand, like the highest form of moral direction to take in any present moment, right? Only you can know that, because you know your own energy, you know your own, limits, and you know your own powers, so to speak. And so, you know what I'm saying, you wouldn't depend on like maybe the highest power out there to give me like the knowledge and direction. You know what I'm saying? Like, you wouldn't need that. I don't know if I'm connecting with people who are already, because I'm not interested in like helping people understand new concepts. I'm not in the business of that, right? No. Like, I'm not interested in that. Like, but if you understand like the language that I'm using right now, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking, like tapping in with yourself. You know what I mean? Where you don't even, this even goes beyond religion. It's to a point where you get the kind of detachment from things like money and material, right? And again, therapy speak maxing. Don't therapy speak max and think I'm talking about being a monk, when I'm talking about the detachment of material and things like that. You can still have the things that you need to have, materialistically, but the detachment of, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I meant by I don't want to explain new concepts to like people, right? Do your homework. But I feel like, yo, that's essentially what it boils down to when we talk about people depending on a religion, right? People depending on a higher power to guide me. You know what I'm saying? It's that kind of backbone that I'm talking about. People lack that. Knowing thyself, knowing your own self, tapping in to your own self. And I don't need all that fake deep allegations, but that's why I'm like, yo, if you know, you know, bro. If you don't understand it, like, it's okay, bro. It's okay, it's fine.
Why is so much of humankind willing to rally around the idea of an all-powerful and benevolent God that no one has ever even seen? The short answer: blind religious faith might not be a choice. For many people, it's all but hardwired into our DNA.
Some game.
If a stranger approached you on the street and offered you the promise of immortality, not in this life, but in the next, and in exchange, all you have to do is give him 20% of everything you earn until the day you die, what would...
Wait, in this life or in the next life? Do I give them 20% of everything I earn in this remaining life or the next one?
You do.
And another thing, what do you mean next life? You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm that nigga. Like, yo, what do you mean next life? Yo, do you believe in... Wait, is it finna come in the form of reincarnation? Hold on. Wait. Is it the heaven or hell kind of... Like, do you go to a better place? Or, like, when we talking afterlife, do we mean me transforming my life from being this version of the person that I am right now to maybe the kind of person that I'm finna be in 20 years from now? But in this exact... Like, what are we talking about, right? Alright, let me not complicate the thing. Okay.
And yet... between tithing 10% of your income, offerings, donations, and seed sowing, that's pretty much the implicit, if not explicit, promise of many prosperity churches. Why does this only make sense within the confines of organized religion?
Why?
To figure that out, I talked to a professor that studies the psychology of religion.
Let's do it.
Pascal Boyer. I'm a professor of psychology and anthropology at Washington University in St. Louis. And what I've been doing for many years is study what you could call the psychology of religion, or more the way the human mind sort of shapes the religious traditions.
Why are humans so drawn to organized religion?
It's a preference for something that's been extraordinarily useful for our entire evolutionary history, which is to form groups of high solidarity. We couldn't survive without that. And one aspect of that is that we can form groups that have rival interests, and then we sort of amp up the emotional appeal of being in the group and damaging the other group, and we immediately think of it in terms of zero sum.
Yeah.
That is, if they lose, we win. If we lose, they win.
In other words, organized religions often have less to do with the religion and more to do with the organization itself.
Yeah.
So human groups depend on everyone's commitment. Extreme things are going to war together, or we are building something together. This is something that only works.
Oh yeah, that solidarity effect, right? That communion effect. Is it communionizing? Communion. Yeah, community. That sense of community. Brethren. So, yeah.
Works if lots of people do it. So lots of people are committed.
But the crazy part is that, what I'm saying, as long as people have deeper differing agendas within the church itself. I'm saying, I'm talking about, not only just like church members, but like the leadership of congregations and things like that. Like, people's agendas is not in alignment, and you understand what I'm saying. I feel like for as long as people's agendas is differing, I'm talking about the deeper ones, to a point where they become hidden agendas. You understand what I mean? It's like, in the first place, why have hidden agendas when everything is in alignment? Down to the deepest aspect of your agendas, right? As a collective. But anyway, it's like, for as long as people have those differing agendas, it's easy to scam. It's easy to scam people in the name of religion, right?
Now, if I build a cult in which I ask you to agree to the fact that if we drop objects, they fall downwards, or that when there's tons of clouds, it's more likely to rain than when the sky is blue.
Oh.
All I know about you is that, you agreed with me. But everyone does, anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't know anything special about your commitment. How if I tell you that chairs can fly if you concentrate your gaze on them on a Tuesday afternoon in a particular sort of shrine and stuff like that, and you say, yes, I think that happened? Well, then you've shown me that you're prepared to agree to something just...
That's stupid, even though, it doesn't make sense. It's because I want to belong in your group, yes.
For the sake of being in my group, you're prepared to agree to something that not only shows that you're with me, but also shows to other people that you're not with them anymore. Because you have a belief that's shocking in a way, that's irrational. The more bizarre the better in a way, because it shows that you really are committed.
It's like with LGBTQ+ issues. For all the controversy the topic generates today, same-sex relations weren't even important enough to make it into something like the 10 Commandments. Take a second to think about that.
Damn.
The foundational moral code of Christianity, and not a single mention. Meanwhile, sins like adultery or collecting interest on loans, which were explicitly condemned in the Bible, barely spark the same outrage. So why are so many Christians today more obsessed with controlling sexuality than confronting the actual sins that their scripture condemns?
Good question.
Religious scholar Dan agrees with Professor Pascal here that it's less about scripture and more about identity markers.
It is a useful identity marker for an awful lot of folks. It is a useful way to say, this is where I stand. If you want to be part of the in-group, you need to endorse this as well. And so it becomes kind of a rally cry for the in-group. It functions more as an identity marker than anything else. And I think one day, I probably won't live to see it. One day, though, I think we will reach a critical mass of people who have realized that the well-being and the very lives of men, women, and children around the world are more important than the rhetorical utility of this identity marker of homophobia, of opposition to LGBTQIA identities.
Those ones are so real, bro. Those ones are deep because people, you know, I don't know if people lose their lives at that rate, like, you know, just over some LGBT phobia or hate. You know what I'm saying? But yo, like, this is like, because the, like, what divides the people is not of importance until, you know, until we get to a point where it's like, yo, we get to the root, the base agenda of which is just like separation. We've just othered each other. And because of that, now, you know, somebody about to lose their life. And when you look at, you know, some of these things, it's like, yo, surface level, for people to lose their lives, it's like, damn, this is where we've gotten.
It's just a matter of how long it takes before people come to that realization.
Yeah.
And I don't think I will live to see it, but I think we'll get there one day.
I ain't trying to be here to live to see it.
It's not hard to understand why people are drawn to and maybe even need to believe in a higher power.
I know.
As the old saying goes, there are no atheists in a foxhole. We would all prefer to believe that life isn't just random and meaningless, and that when we die, our consciousness doesn't simply blow out like a candle. Religion is the only alternative we have to facing that endless eternal void. But that only explains the drive impulse towards faith. It doesn't explain why religion is so often and so easily weaponized toward terrible things, whether that's robbing your members of their money, or far worse, being used to justify atrocities like slavery and genocide.
Damn.
Cynics have sometimes argued that religion is inherently evil, but I think that's an oversimplification. I grew up a Christian and I can tell you that it did teach me a lot about how to be a good person. Things like love your neighbor as yourself and do to others as you would have them do to you are principles that can help you live a life filled with genuine love, compassion, tolerance, and happiness. In fact, in its earliest days, Christianity was an exceptional model of what a spiritual organization should be. Early Christians lived simply and communally. They shared everything they had with each other, and their churches were simply the homes of the members.
Nice.
Taking their cue from Jesus, who preached not vengeance on conquest, but instead even forgave his own murderers while hanging on the cross, disciples traveled widely, spreading peaceful and practical teachings like everything I was taught in Sunday school. But then, something changed.
What?
The tables turn once you are on the other side of those systemic power asymmetries. And when you are leveraging identity politics over and against the less powerful groups, the minoritized, the marginalized, the oppressed groups, you're on the offensive and you have the power, then I think it becomes a phenomenally harmful thing. And I think Christianity, that pivot kind of happened around the 4th century when Christianity took over the Roman Empire and has been one of the major players in the global geopolitical scene ever since.
350 years after Jesus' death, Emperor Theodosius made Christianity the official religion of Rome. And within just 10 years, worshipping pagan gods became a crime. You would have expected a former minority group who were persecuted for worshipping their god to understand the values of acceptance and tolerance. Instead, the once persecuted instantly became the persecutors themselves.
Damn.
To make sense of some of the more regrettable excesses in
So the prey became the predator. Damn.
church history, no one spoke to someone on the inside.
Although there are many influencers among the Christian clergy these days, not surprisingly, very few seem excited to discuss the darker chapters in church history with us on camera.
Why not?
Luckily for us, there was one exception.
My name is Father Leo Padalinghug.
Let's go.
I'm a Catholic priest who also is a professional chef. I host and founded an international faith and food movement called Plating Grace, movement to bring families back around the dinner table.
When we asked him about the church's dark history, here's what he had to say.
And let's go through point by point. And I've done that with people, and they now start to see the Crusades. They're not terrible. The witch hunts, for sure, come across very badly. But if you look at the history, there was kind of a reason for why we wanted to expel diviners and other people who claimed to be witches. It was a weird time.
Those that practice
Theological
magic.
precision was a very big thing during the time of the Inquisition. Heresies were thought of as things of the past, but no, they were creeping up again, and trying to maintain kind of a unity among Christians was a reason for the Inquisition. Now, were there extreme measures? Of course, and they were terrible. I mean, it's kind of inexcusable. But sadly, that is an antiquated part of history. They acted in the manner of their time.
Yeah.
And it was terrible. Thankfully, Christianity has evolved, learned from it, and said, we can't do that anymore.
But then, my question is, if we can look back now and admit that so many atrocities committed in the name of the Lord are evil, albeit a product of their time, then why can't we do the same today?
Yeah.
Why can't we look around at all the hate, bigotry, and economic exploitation being carried out under the same sacred banners and simply admit that it's wrong?
I think that's where that Old Testament and New Testament conflict or divide comes in, right? That dichotomy where it's like, in the Old Testament, that was the energy of the time. Like, people would just, you know what I'm saying, go to war and just kill over their religion. Like, and the whole New Testament and Jesus coming through to, teach people how to turn the other cheek. You understand what I'm saying? Things like, forgive your enemies. You know what I'm saying? Being apologetic like that. That kind of, I feel like, yes, it does kind of force the Christians to kind of tolerate. You know what? Let me not speak for the Christians. I was going to be like, it forces y'all to tolerate also the nonsense that's going on. Because I'm not going to lie, bro. It's like, I had to do away with like some of these forgiving principles. These principles, bro, where, turning the other cheek, for instance. You feel what I'm saying? I feel like as a principle, it's something where, we can do that as, as a habit, as, adopted within our behavior, to do things like like tame sort of wild temperament, tame sort of the opportunity for wild primal energies from going out of control, right? Like, be forgiving, like show the more be the bigger person, right? Show the more mature aspect of how this can be handled. I'm not gonna lie, that does have its own effect of kind of making you inferior. You know what I'm saying? The one that was wilding out, kind of make you feel inferior. Like, I'm more vulnerable to my own emotional temperaments and triggers like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then you, who can like control yourself and like turning the other cheek is crazy, fam. Like turning the other, but you know what I'm saying? Like controlling your own natures and shit. Like it shows a more grown and a more sort of mysterious sense about you, where it's like, this guy's not even fighting back. Like, does he got like some serious sort of like trick up his sleeve? Like, why is he not responding? Like, nigga, laugh, bro. No. But you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, that's why I'm not agreeing with the turn the other cheek. But as I was explaining it, right? Turning the other cheek might just like, like taming like wild energies, right? Instead of hit back, strike back, because that kind of escalation can, it can not only hurt the participants involved, right? The two primary direct participants involved, but it can destroy the environment, right? So turning the other cheek, remaining humble or whatever, like lowly, right? Low key, right? Remaining that way, it kind of like puts the reality in check. I don't know, in some sense, but I wouldn't say that's why I kind of ditch some of the principles from the Bible, as I said, right? Is that I wouldn't turn the other cheek, because now paint a scenario where somebody is attacking you, right? Attacking you with your family, right? You're at a park somewhere, or y'all are in y'all home, somebody breaks in, they start attacking, ain't no time to turn no goddamn cheek, bro. Like, what are you saying? The law even may permit me to, like, yo, bro, shoot the life out this mug. He trespassed into my own home, got weapons, coming for me and my family. Oh my God. So help you God. Don't turn the other cheek. So that's what I'm saying, is that, like, some of these other principles, bro, had to do away with them. I actually kind of forgot the point I was trying to make. You know, talking all that, you know, yapping all that in your ear, but let's continue, shall we?
Must we always wait for the next generation to do what we should have done ourselves? I'm sure there were people back then, good, courageous people, who spoke out when Christians were burning innocent women at the stake. People who were shouted down, told that the Bible says, "Suffer not a witch to live," so it was justified. Isn't this the same thing we're doing to people who talk about issues within the church today?
As the age of empires arrived, Europe effectively exported their repackaged Christian values to the rest of the world, often with brutal...
Oh yeah, shit, I think I remember my point now. But is this a relevant moment to share it? Okay, I was like, you know, I was talking about, like, the softening of Christians and why, you know, that wild nature of combat, you know what I'm saying, being combative, being a combative collective of people. That's why it's, you know what I'm saying, so that the animalistic natures, and, you know, to keep shit calm, keep it calm. Hey, hold it down. We ain't trying to, you know what I'm saying, we ain't trying to live with a bunch of hooligans. So, you know, I get it. It might be from that. Well, that's just an ignorant take, but yeah, it might be from, man.
Our consequence.
And that's in contrast to actually what Old Testament, you know, activities, how they went, right?
This is how they convince themselves of the morality of colonization. Nobody wants to think of themselves as the bad guy.
Yep.
Unlike ancient empires like Rome, who conquered solely for profit and power, Christianity gave Europe a noble-sounding justification for plundering and destroying any civilization they encountered on foreign shores. Take the colonial efforts of Spain in what is now known as Latin America. Their mission to spread the word of God was no doubt sincere. In fact, till today, the region is still a stronghold of devout Christianity. But the main headline here is the wholesale destruction of nearly everything the Spaniards came in contact with. Less than 200 years after Christopher Columbus arrived, the population of modern-day Mexico was reduced from 25 million to 1 million. Slavery and forced labor were rampant and implemented openly. A contemporary account held that slave ship captains navigate without the need of compass or charts, following instead the trail of floating corpses tossed overboard by the ship before them. And all of this was done in the name of an evangelizing mission to introduce a heathen people to the one true God. This total destruction of native populations created the need for a new supply of human labor. And with that, the enslavement of Africans in the New World began. Slaveholders in the Americas again felt a responsibility to save the souls of the godless primitives, and in a cruel twist of irony, the message of Christianity that the meek shall inherit the earth was tailor-made to serve as a tool of suppression, because it is much easier for a person to remain in oppression when they've been convinced that in doing so their reward in heaven will be far greater.